Most people think silence means peace, that being quiet means they're focused. But the truth is, most silence is just hiding, comfort dressed up as strategy, sitting still, planning endlessly, talking about what they're about to do. But grinding in silence? That's not passive. That's war. That's work no one sees. That's execution when the world's asleep. Comfort is the real killer. It doesn't shout, it whispers. It tells you you're doing enough, that tomorrow is a better day, that you've already worked hard, and little by little it seduces you into average, into stalling, into dying with potential still trapped inside. But the ones who rise, they move differently. They don't need praise. They don't need eyes watching. They don't need external fire. They wake up and grind because their dream demands it. Not once, not sometimes. Every single day, even in silence, especially in silence. Because while others are waiting to feel ready, the committed are building in the shadows. While others post, they plan. While others talk, they train. They're not loud, they're not flashy, they're consistent. And that's the difference between the ones who want it and the ones who build it. So if you're sitting still right now, ask yourself, are you truly silent because you're working? Or are you silent because you're scared? If this hit you, subscribe now, because we don't speak for attention, we grind for results, and we rise in the dark. If you only move when you feel like it, you'll never get anywhere, because your emotions, they lie. They beg for comfort. They chase dopamine. They scream for escape. But your mission? It doesn't care how you feel. It only cares if you show up. That's why commitment is rare. Not because it's complicated, but because it's boring. It's repetitive. It's ruthless. It doesn't ask, are you motivated today? It says, we're going anyway. The ones who win aren't the ones with the most talent. They're the ones who stop negotiating with themselves, the ones who don't wait for perfect conditions, who don't slow down because it's raining, who don't disappear when they're tired. They do it anyway, every time. You say you want success? Then stop chasing motivation and start building discipline. Stop reacting and start deciding, because the men who build something real, they don't need hype, they need silence, a cold room, a task, a routine, and the fire to do it without applause. You don't rise by feeling good. You rise by doing what's required, especially on the days you don't want to. That's where the real ones are forged. So when the alarm hits and your body says, not today, answer back, today we grind because I said so. You don't need to be the smartest. You don't need to be the strongest. You just need to keep showing up every day, without fail, without fanfare. That's the edge most men never develop. Consistency without emotion. Anyone can show up once. Anyone can grind when it's exciting. But what about the 6th day in a row, when you're exhausted? What about when no one is watching? What about when it feels pointless, repetitive, quiet? That's when the quitters tap out. That's when the pretenders vanish, and that's where the real ones double down. Success doesn't respond to intensity. It responds to repetition, to structure, to doing the work, even when it doesn't feel like it's working. Because real progress, it's slow, it's invisible. It builds quietly, but it builds. You don't need big wins every day. You need movement, forward, focused, relentless. You need to master the boring stuff, the early mornings, the lonely reps, the discipline that compounds while others chase shortcuts. And when it's hard, when it's quiet, when nothing seems to be happening, you remind yourself, this is where champions are made, not in the spotlight, in the silence. So keep going, not because it's fun, not because it's easy, because you're the kind of man who finishes what he starts. If you can't control your mind, you'll never control your life. That's not a quote. That's a warning. Because your mind doesn't care about your dreams. It doesn't care about your future. It wants survival, comfort, the path of least resistance. And if you don't lead it with force, it will lead you straight into distraction, excuses, and failure. Every time you hesitate, that's your mind trying to protect you from growth. Every time you reach for your phone instead of doing the work, that's your mind looking for escape. And every time you tell yourself, "I'll start tomorrow," that's not truth. It's programming. Old, weak programming that only gets stronger every time you obey it. But the elite, they override that voice. They don't listen to comfort. They don't ask how they feel. They lead. They command. They dominate their thoughts before those thoughts sabotage everything they're building. That's the real battle, not in your muscles, not in your schedule, in your head, in your ability to recognize the lies and crush them with discipline, to shut down the noise and stay locked on the target, no matter what. That means meditation when you want distraction, focus when you crave chaos, routine when your feelings scream for rest. Mental strength isn't a natural gift. It's a weapon you forge in repetition, and once you build it, nothing can shake it. So stop waiting for your mind to cooperate. Train it, break it, rebuild it, make it your servant, not your master. Because the man who owns his mind owns everything. Everybody says they want a big life, big results, big success. But look at their grind. Look at their daily habits. Look at their energy, their focus, their sacrifice. It doesn't match. They speak dreams in millions, but they work like thousands, and that's why most will never touch what they claim to chase. Dreams don't respond to wishes. They respond to grit, sweat, reps in silence, days of exhaustion, months of discipline, years of delayed gratification. You can't outdream the man who outworks you, and you can't cheat the grind, not when the goal is legendary. If your dream is massive, your execution must be ruthless. If you want uncommon results, you need uncommon effort. That means pushing on the days you want to quit. That means staying focused when no one's cheering. That means grinding in silence, not just to prove something to the world, but to prove something to yourself. This is the truth no one wants to hear. You're not being held back by bad luck. You're not waiting on some magical moment. You're just not grinding at the level your goal requires. Not yet, but you can. Right now. You need to raise your standard, not tomorrow, not when it feels easier, now. Match your discipline to your ambition. Align your actions with the size of your vision, because the dream only belongs to the one willing to suffer for it, consistently. And once your grind rises to meet your vision, that's when everything changes. Not because it got easier, but because you got relentless. There comes a moment in every man's life when he has to stop negotiating with comfort. A moment when excuses must die and decisions become permanent. Not temporary motivation, not another plan, not another talk. A real decision. One that says, I will build. I will execute. I will not back down. No matter how tired, how lonely, how invisible the grind may feel, I will not stop. Because anything worth building takes pain, patience, and silence. The silence of mornings where no one notices you showed up. The silence of sacrifice, when you turn down pleasure to stay on mission. The silence of growth, when your results haven't surfaced yet, but you keep showing up anyway. Most people never escape the loop because they keep holding on to options. They talk about going all in, but keep a safety net under the dream. They say they're committed, but they're still entertaining distractions. Still saying, just this once. Still delaying the deep work. Still trying to squeeze success into a convenient corner of their life. But you can't become legendary with one foot in. You have to burn the backup plan, burn the excuses, burn the fantasy of balance. This isn't about working harder, it's about working with clarity, with fire, with purpose. Grinding in silence doesn't mean staying quiet for attention. It means staying locked in while the world sleeps. It means moving without announcements. It means doing the work whether you're clapped for or criticized. Let them doubt. Let them ignore you. Let them laugh. Because in the silence, you're not waiting. You're building. Every rep, every hour, every task you finish without applause is fuel for the moment when the results speak so loudly. The silence that built them becomes your legacy. So when it gets hard, and it will, you don't stop. You don't pause to explain. You don't shrink to fit anyone's comfort zone. You remember who you are. You remember what you promised. You remember that this life is not about being seen, it's about being unstoppable. You build the habits, you master your mind, you move with precision, and you act like the man you said you would become. No more hype, no more noise, just action. Quiet, disciplined, daily action. And if this message hit something inside you, drop a comment right now and say it. I don't talk, I build. Let the world know you're done waiting for motivation. You're done being loud without proof. And if you're ready to grind in silence, to train like a weapon, and to rise when no one is watching, subscribe now. Because this is where comfort dies, and a dangerous man is born. Keep grinding. No mercy, no noise, only results.